the week. Sorry, I didn't
L of the
transition that.
week. No, that's good. You did a. I like your transition. All right, go for it.
But that's definitely been my L of the week, has been the general market, especially from a breaker. Like, we never once have put a break out there and it didn't fill, at least in like a day or two. And we've had two this month that have just been up and just never filled. And so I'm just like, and it's not
Weird.
even like bad products. I mean, it's Topps Platinum, which was a unique set that came out this like a couple of months ago. The problem with the Platinum set is the checklist is ginormous, because they added like active players, and then like every great you can think of is in it. Like for instance, one of the chases in the products is a 52 mantle like recreation card. And it's honestly, it's selling for like $1,000 right now. So, it's an awesome short print that you can get but we were going to break two hobbies of it, and you were going to get 3 teams for $40, which is very obtainable. And it's just not filling. And it's weird. But so yeah, just like there's a general like lack of interest right now. And I don't know if it's because of product or because the economy's down or what, but like all over Twitter I've been seeing like, why are eBay auctions going so low? Like it's just like people are just down right now. Like
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's weird. I think I've had an experience of selling my old cards, my PSA grading submission that I just got back. People are people. They're I think the card, I'm getting what I expected to get for them.
Yeah.
To keep it short and sweet, and people are paying. So I mean, I think, but I'm not going to deny that it's not weird right now. I mean, you're experiencing some weird things, and we're going to the National. We're both going to the National this week, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I have no doubt it's going to be like off the chain, crazy, like, a lot of cool stuff happening there. So I'm excited. I plan to kind of document I bought like a VIP ticket several months ago. I thought it was a good value. So I'm excited to kind of document the VIP experience, if you will. I think VIP is a little strong term for it. I think I'm just going to go and document my experience there, and kind of take the pressure off myself. And I don't plan on spending too much money, but I don't really have much to sell either. But I think I might give myself a budget and try to make some plays and see what happens. So hopefully your L of the week will bounce back for all of our sake. But my L of the week is I'm going to attempt to do something here with the StreamYard and not mess everything up like I did at the beginning of the show.
See you later.
See you guys. I'm going to, there we go. All right. So you see a Jerry Rice PSA DNA blue slab right now, Kendall?
Yep.
All right, great. So everybody sees this. So for those of you listening on Apple or Spotify, I'm showing a 1986 Jerry Rice Topps rookie PSA DNA old blue slab authentic auto. So I bought this for a couple $100 thinking, the card looks pretty decent inside the slab. I'm going to get this thing card graded and auto graded, and I am going to get it in a new PSA slab for like $60 is the grading fee for that. And they turned it around relatively quickly. Well, unfortunately, my L of the week is this bad boy because, and you might have to explain to me how you think this happened, and feel free to chime in the comments, drop a comment, or if you're on the live chat, let me know what you think. But here's the order. So I sent it in as an order of I did it with a few cards, and the Jerry Rice 1986 Topps card, even though it was a PSA DNA cert, came back with a questionable authenticity on the auto, and I assume maybe as well on the card. I'm not really sure how this works, but it kind of boggles my mind that this was a PSA slab and I sent it into PSA to get the card grade and the auto grade, and it didn't say reprint on the card. As you can see, it just says card on the old slab, but I got a questionable authenticity. and it's on its way to my PWCC vault now. So I don't know if they kept it in the old slab or not. So I don't know if I have the opportunity to have it in the slab that I bought it in, or if I'm going to get, I've had questionable authenticity grades from PSA before, and they basically send it back in a card saver with a label that says "do not holder." And so I'm not sure which way I'm going to get this, but that's an L to me because I've got about $260 in the card, and I thought if this thing comes back with a card grade at all, of any grade, and a auto grade, should come back with an auto grade, right? Because the PSA authenticated it in the past. Then I'm gonna have a card that's probably worth more than what I've put into it. But at this point, it's a big L. So what do you think? And you can see my other ones here. We won't get into those. I did do okay on the other ones, a Giannis and 2 Magics. But Kendall, what do you think of this this Jerry Rice situation?
I would be wanting an explanation from PSA, because like they had authenticated it previously and then now they think it's not authentic, like that doesn't make sense. Either maybe I don't know. Like, I feel like if they mess that up, they should give you at least your money for the resub back. I don't know, like, because unless they can show that like maybe it was a fraud or something, like maybe you bought the PSA slab that was on a fraud slab. I don't know. Like,
maybe. Yeah,
I have
maybe.
no idea.
I would like an explanation. I think this is something that maybe I can tweet at them. They've replied.
Well, they'll be there on Thursday. Like, you could just ask them.
They'll be there on Thursday. Maybe there'll be I'll have a picture of it. I'll have these pictures, and I'll have maybe it'll be back in my vault with a picture. If PWCC can get it curated with a picture of some sort in the vault by this weekend, I might be able to get an explanation depending on how long the line is. But yeah, that's an L.
Well, if you're a VIP member, you can get in there first. Maybe you just go over there.
There we go. I am a VIP member, He-Man.
Look at it.
So there we go.
That's so strange, though, man. I'm sorry about that because I know you were really looking forward to that one.
Super weird. I was excited about the others, but that one kind of sucked. So yeah, that was my L of the week. All right, so let's go to your W of the week. You're gonna lead us off here with the W of the week, and we're gonna try to take our comments from the live chat as we go. So actually, before we go to your W of the week, let's give Paul Carl Cards a shout out here. What's up, Paul? He says he's really disappointed with PSA these days. His most recent order was so inconsistent in a stupid way. Card I expected a 7 or 8 got a 9 despite a major dinged corner. Yeah, this is weird. I'm going with PSA because of the resale value, but it does seem like their grades are a little weird. He says another copy of the same exact card in much better condition. He expected a 9 or 10 and got an 8. Yes, who knows? Is this maybe because they're scaling and training new graders? Kendall, what do you think?
I actually heard a rumor that they're sending it to people's homes. Like they have graders that are at people's house. Like,
they're working from home. That's what you're saying.
Okay. Here's the thing. All right. This is what I compare it to in my head. And this might not have any relevance to most people, but it will to you. So when I was in grad school, I met T for the first time, my partner at Wildcards. He was the TA of the first grad school class that I had at the time. So he was like the grading assistant, was doing some doctoral work, blah, blah, blah. He would grade my papers way harder than the other students, just because I don't know if he was like trying to just be a big bro or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I was just like, 2 different TAs could grade the same paper, and then one of them would give it like an 80 and the other one would be like, that was crap, and then there's a failing grade on that one. And so I wonder if they are trying to figure out a streamlined process, if there are some graders that are like the old school graders that are harder on cards, and then, or the opposite, maybe the old schoolers are like mostly dealing with vintage. Like, I wonder if they send vintage cards to certain like vintage graders, or I just would love to know that process behind that. Because if you're sending a vintage card to a person who's like only deals with Bowman, like PSA 10s. And they're looking for one small pock on a whole card, and then all of a sudden they get a card that has soft edges and is like looks like kind of fabricy instead of like hardcore cardboard. Like I just don't know if they would grade it the same as if a vintage collector was like, wow, this mantle is actually in great condition, like, and it might have soft corners, but it's pretty phenomenal in comparison, like.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem I have if that is in fact true. I mean, maybe I'll ask them that, see if I could get an answer when I'm at the National this week. But if you're grading, and now in general, I don't have a problem with anyone working from home this day and age. So let me get that out of the way. But if you're a company like any of the grading companies, I mean, I've run companies and we've always been remote probably for the last 10 years. And so each person works under different circumstances. I can tell when someone I'm working with, I can tell kind of what their day looks like based on kind of the pattern of communication, right? And so if you extrapolate that to a grading company, you have to believe, even if you ship each grader the same equipment to use, there's no guarantee that grader is going to use that equipment. And that's a big bogey. That's a huge bogey. Because you got to think that the lighting, the machine, I remember watching Sports Card Investor did an interview, did a whole big feature on SGC last year. I think we all know it. And they went through the whole building and they showed the graders and they showed the equipment that they use. And I mean, if that's not consistent, that's a huge problem. That's it right there. So, you can say, well, we've shipped these people this equipment. They might not know how to use it properly. The other thing too, man, is like, what if your kid's bus arrives at 3 p.m. and you just like want to get this card graded to like move on to the next card? That's a thing too. But if you're at the office, you don't have that option and you have a supervisor maybe like supervising you. Whereas walking into the grading room, and like if your kid's bus arrives at 3 p.m. and you want to go get your kid off the bus, I mean, and you stop grading a card or you forget what parts of the card that you looked at, and I use that as an example, like we don't all have kids, but you know what I mean? Like like Amazon shows up at your door and you get interrupted and you have to go, like that shit happens when you're working from home. And so, that definitely could play a role in like just increasing the margin for error.
Will you put sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I'm done.
Will you put Fed Up's comment?
Yeah, Fed Up says, what up, Fed Up? He says, I'm a seller on Whatnot. Unfortunately, only PSA is what sells for value. Thanks for the shout out on the great show. We really appreciate that. Thanks for watching and being a part of the stream. Great call. So Kendall, I know you're on Loop. Are you having the same?
I am on Whatnot too, actually.
You're on Whatnot. Okay.
But the reason why I brought this up is this is the same discussion that we've been having over the past month. And I think the reason why I wanted to go here is because so for instance, remember a couple weeks ago, we were talking with Paul Fisher about the conversation that Deborah and I had whether about Beckett or PSA. And I was just telling everybody, I was just like, PSA is kind of the nature of the beast at this point. Like you've just got to kind of play the game. And I think this comment in respect to the next Paul Card's comment about like new graders and they might not just know what they're doing yet. Like, I think that's completely like the game. Like I would 100% agree. Don't grade your cards with anything other than PSA if you're wanting to sell them, because they're just not going to move. Like I have a friend who's always just like, dude, I got this CSG slab. And I'm like, I don't want it. Even if it's like, I literally, okay. So I've been telling you for a couple of weeks that I'm looking for that mantle at the National, right? The blue one. I'm looking to try to get a PSA 5 or 6. You know what I'm talking about? 79 mantle.
Yep.
I have a friend who has a CSG 5 mantle, same card. Okay. And he's like, hey man, I want here, I have this one. I want this much money for it. And he was like, yeah, it's going to equate to the same level as a PSA 5, CSG 5, same level. Yeah. So that's how much money I want for it. I'm like, nope.
No,
because I'm not going to pay the same amount of money, because to me, a CSG 5 is worth like a PSA 3, because not only do I have to pay about $100 for a crossover grade, but then what if it doesn't come out of a PSA 5? What if the
Right.
grading standard is different? And so I just gotta had to hedge my bet there. So, but what I wanted to say in regards to Paul Carl saying there's new graders, I am willing to submit the $18 July special, whatever it is, that $18 like 20 cards, like under 199 value. I know they're handing those cards to the new graders. Like, they're not handing the 86 Fleer to a brand new grader, right? Like,
Yeah, I would
just
hope
think
not.
about that. And
Yeah.
then, so, like, for me, I'm completely okay with the development long run of cards for my $20 slab to be graded by a brand new person, and it might come back as a 9 when it's probably a 10, or the opposite way. I'm okay with that, because I think in the long run that gets us further. And I'm okay with taking that tax, that tax of leadership, or whatever you want to call it. I'm 100% okay with that. And I think I'm still using the PSA in the future for selling. I'm just not okay. Yeah, exactly. And we're all using PSA because that's what sells. But at the same time, obviously they have issues. Not trying to avoid that.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm okay too with like making a play on a CSG or an SGC or a BGS over to PSA. But I think if you have if sometimes what I found is that like on eBay, when I buy on eBay, it's easier to buy because there's no negotiation. Really. I mean, you can make an offer and you can make comments and stuff back and forth to each other. So there is negotiation, but it's not like the person. I think when you know the person or when you have access to the person, you basically are in a position where you maybe can't make a deal because maybe they feel like you need to do them a favor or something like that. And so it sounds like, your guy is not necessarily in the wrong, but I do think that he's not putting you in a position to make a play. I think I think you would need to look at like, okay, and this is for the audience too, right? Like, I think if you were to make a play on something like Kendall's talking about with his Mantle, you would want to cross over to PSA before you sell it. So you would want to say like, okay, well, if a PSA 5 sells for X, I would want to
Did I
leave
say Mantle?
myself.
I meant Gretzky. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So Gretzky,
My bad.
no worries. And the concept is still the same, obviously,
Yeah,
right?
concept
So like,
is the same. I just want people to know I'm talking about 79 Gretzky with the blue border.
79 Gretzky. Yeah, we talked about that in this show. We went off for 1 week, guys, so bear with us. We're a little rusty.
Brain fog, bro. See, I told
2 weeks ago in episode 39, we talked about Kendall had Gretzky in the gauntlet for me, and then that's when he was kind of talking about trying to get that Gretzky. So, yeah, like you would have to say, all right, well, a PSA 5 and a PSA 4 and a PSA 3 sell for X, Y, and Z. And so if I'm gonna buy this CSG 5, I would want to leave myself X amount of profit for each of those other 3 PSA grades, and then make your offer based on that. And then of course, the 6 you could probably wait on that, so you could probably submit it for $60. I would do like the low end kind of thing. All right, Kendall, what's your